Okay, so let's see. Okay, one sec. I realized when I sat down that I hadn't plugged the lamp in, so. Alright. In theory, we're good. Yeah. So, hi. No stream elements, that's why we're here. Yeah, exactly. Alright. Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to the stream, or the video, whichever platform you're watching this on. And it sounds like I've got a lisp right now. It's because, once again, the cankersaurs have decided that the end of my tongue is, like, prime real estate. So, that's what we're dealing with at the moment. And if you hear any, like, squeaky sounds, like so, apologies if you have critters that respond to that. Like, this is the fidget toy of the stream today, because I can't find the cube. But yeah, I know that the emotional support spooter hasn't made an appearance for a while, but it's back. It's alright. Yeah. I'm gonna try and not do that, but if the sound happens to happen, that's what it's from. It's probably just gonna be like one of the legs, because they're soft and fuzzy and stuff. So there's that. Don't think we've seen emotional support sweeter before. Well, in that case, it's a little spider friend from like 2018, 2019, something like that, when they had a orange check squeaky toy spider in the Halloween section for like a couple of dollars at Petco or PetSmart, whichever one it is. And then I gave him a little bandana because reasons. But yeah, it's just kind of hanging out there. But yeah, so there is that. Yeah. Okay. So before we dive into 5 and 6, just as we've said before, um, Son of Shadows is the second of a series, so just be aware of that as a viewer. If there's like some confusion with characters and stuff, we can uh, talk about it and all that. But if you want to not have spoilers for the first one, you probably don't want to be here for discussion of the second one, just as a thing. I am actually posting stuff on the YouTube channel finally, so yeah. Everything up to this stream, like all the previous book streams, as far as I know, are now uploaded. They're not posted because I need to like finalize some stuff, but they are all uploaded, so will be posted in the next like probably 2 weeks. So just putting that out there as a thing. Yeah. So that being said, um, any preliminary yay for uploading completion? Exactly. Like, I've wanted to have it so, like, I could do a stream and then maybe do a few edits on it and post it, like, the next day or, like, the Saturday of that week or whatever for a while. And I'm close to being able to do that, so yay. Alright, so before we dive into stuff, anyone have particular observations, or you want to just jump into it? Actually, okay. Apologies about the ears and the sound and all that. Yeah, wasn't the best of moves. So gonna bust out the drawing pad and see what happens. There we go. Yeah? Yeah, okay. We'll go with that instead. With Spooter as a little support guy. Just hanging out there. Cannonballs in the mud. Yeah, so alright. What's that? Alright. So up to this point, right? We've got Bran and Leiden. Leiden? Okay. It's spelled Leiden. When certain characters are saying her name, it's Learden. Leoden. Okay. Alright. That's the R that I was hearing. Leoden. Okay. Gotcha. So we've got Bran and Leoden and Evan is still trying to deal with um injury and all that, and the rest of the troop. And before being abducted, for lack of a better, yeah, that's what it is. So before being abducted by Bran's people, the only context that she had for how the group operated was stories from Aemon, which, as you would expect, kind of emphasize certain aspects of personality and all that. You don't really get the widest range of awareness of someone's character when they're trying to kill you and you're trying to kill them, and that's the extent of the interaction. It helps to actually have notes. Come on. Because purported innocence, suspicious coughing, right? Right? It's like, yeah, totally. Like, okay, I realize that there are situations where stuff happens and all that, but as a general thing, people don't tend to like try and take a hit out on you unless something's gone down. Especially when, like, if things actually went as described and it was like dude was held and forced to watch the rest of his people die and all that. That's not a like you did a bad thing and this is your punishment kind of situation. That's like that's like retribution for past crimes kind of a situation, you know? So mm, it's sounds like vengeance to me. Yeah, that's like you slaughtered my entire family and village and whatever. So therefore, here, this is for you, kind of vibe, just a little bit. Especially if, um, the head of a band of mercenaries is telling someone like, yeah, don't marry this guy. Just like tell him to go jump off a cliff because he's a bad dude. Like, just yeah, just has a sort of odd feel there. you know. But yeah, there's that. So, uh, at the start of 5, so at the start of 5, like, Bran threatens the rest of the guys to leave. Uh, I'll just, I just need to make a note in here, because otherwise, I'll keep not pronouncing it right. There we go. Okay, so at the start of 5, Bran threatens the guys to not mess with Leodon, which, cool. But then she hears from, like, no less than, like, 3 of them. It's like, that wouldn't be an issue anyway, because, like, we don't do that. So, alright, we're not gonna try and assault you or something, because, like, rude. No, ew. That's just a bad move all around. Uh, but also, like, basically the entire camp, aside from, well, everyone seems rather enamored with Leodin, which seems to be throwing her for a loop because, you know, she's not the attractive sister, you know? But a lot of them also seem to think that she and Bran would be, like, the best couple ever. So, yeah, there's that. There, as characters, they kind of work together, but I don't know how much of that is the nostalgia glasses that I have going with things, and and how much is like, yeah, yeah, Leodin having a bit of a Mary Sue moment. She seriously is. It's like the only real, honestly, as much as I appreciate that everyone's like looking out for her and stuff, the only part of that seems like a logical progression of events is that she's confused as to why everyone seems like into her and stuff. It's like, I don't know. I don't know about that. But okay. Um, yeah. Uh, we always wanted her to end up a dog because he's a sweetie. He is. He is. It's one of those, like, okay. I've noticed it more since watching, media commentary YouTubers. Because there's a couple of people that I follow who do a lot of, like, film reviews and, like, book reviews and stuff like that. And one of the things that seems to come up a lot is, like, there's, if, okay, if there's two love interests, and one is going off to some kind of conflict zone situation, whether it's war or a volatile family thing or something else. The one that doesn't tend to be the quote unquote main character um tends to get killed off. Or like the story arc for that character ends because they like move or something. But if Brian can get past his issues, that has to be all caps because they're that big and he enlightened my orc. Exactly. Exactly. Like he's got it's weird. It's a combination of like because it's two separate tropes that are combined, really. As much as I like the story, it is odd to see it as like an adult versus like someone who's the age that Leodon is in the story. The one with less issues tends to get killed off. Exactly. There's less character development that's needed, you know? Because in that you get the character who has been saved through the power of feminine affection. Uh, to paraphrase one of one of the movie commentators that I follow a lot of. And so we've got that, and then we've got the main character can't get killed off, or if they are, then they're brought back, or it was just like they're not killed off. The other characters just think they died because like there was a bait and switch type situation or something. Um, and like I realized that everyone in the band of mercenaries has like distinctive tattoos and very particular like attire categories and stuff. But to a degree, Brain kind of gives me like the whole anime main character energy sort of situation with like, especially with how much time is dedicated to talking about his tattoos. Because he's, like, everyone else has, relatively uniform whatever it is that they've got going on, whether it's the feathers that Gull has, or like the snake um tattoos and stuff, the snake's tongue that you see on Snake, um the wolf pelt the dog has. And then we get to Bran, who's just like, he's called the Painted Man because he's got so many of them. But dude's got like half his face is a raven, and then he's got like the bee and the like random other ones that have not been that they haven't been unlocked in the character creation arc yet. um Pure PTSD fueled misogyny. Fall in love with Mary Sue. Exactly. Exactly. And like, so we've got we've got like anime main character. Um, the oh jeez, what was it? The less issue riddled character dying horribly somehow, which like it's at the end of 6, so yeah, we're gonna talk about it already, but like, not only is Doug sent out with the rest of the band to fight whoever it is, but like, in order to keep herself safe on the way back to Seven Waters, um, she can't like make herself known until the people attacking Doug like leave, and then has to kill him because the injuries are too severe. So that's a choice. Bran's tattoos sound very intricate. Lots of spirals and feathers. Exactly. Yeah. It's from like, okay, one second. Alright. So yeah. the the feathers do sound pretty cool. And I know that there's certain techniques uh that artists have used over the millennia to get a particular effect in ink work. Like that's a known thing. And depending on where someone is from, the application and illustration style is a lot different. And the types of tattoos that people do are a lot different. But like, as a 16-year-old, right? When I was reading this the first time, it didn't quite register exactly, but like, because now we've got like the tattoo machines and stuff, and I know you see a lot of very intricate designs in on people from indigenous communities, uh, among other things. Some of which is traditionally done, depending on um, the inkwork and uh, who's doing it and any other requirements and stuff. Because, like, the image that I've always had in my head of what the designs look like is pretty dang detailed. And just as a thing, right? Aside from uh, the application process and everything else, right? In order to get a tattoo to stick, it's a repeated stabbing of ink or ash, depending on where you are and what material is used, into uh, from what I remember, like the base layer of the skin. It's not entirely uncommon for there to be um, some bleeding and like excess of ink like coming off eventually and stuff, you know? There's very particular ways of like cleaning and maintaining new designs. Yeah, from everything that I've seen, like that's a thing. That's a pretty standard thing. If you're in an area where like tattooing is very prevalent, you'll probably fine and like prep for whatever maintenance. Cool. The bee that he's got on his wrist, he got when he was 9, and only because he bugged the artist enough that he finally gave in. from the sounds of it, you have to give it proper wound care while it's healing. Yeah. From the sounds of it, a lot of these guys, and from what we've seen for the couple of days that we were in camp with them in chapter 4 and 5, high levels of cleanliness and hygiene doesn't necessarily seem like it's the most prevalent of importance, exactly. And this is also in an era like pre-penicillin, and the only healer in the entire group is Leoden. Like, it sounds like Gull knows plants and can probably, like, figure stuff out, but we haven't seen it on screen, or on screen. We haven't seen it on page yet. We've just seen him having, like, some understanding of things and know that his mom worked with herbs, and like to the point that he's able to ID what's in the um what's the word, the mixture that Leoden gives Evan for the amputation bit. Anesthetic, there we go. No, chats would be best done on vacation, as it were, not on campaign. Exactly. Like, so, in theory, a mercenary band would only be kind of working during times that they're employed, and would thus, in theory, again, have downtime sometimes. But yeah, I was thinking about that. It's like, with as covered in work as you are, especially with like how infection could potentially set in and stuff. It's like again, had no problem with it at like 16, 15, whatever age it was. I was reading this the first time. But like, I'm just sitting here like, y'all are sweaty riding through like a dusty road or whatever, like the trees and stuff covered in probably like road dust and dead bugs and whatever else. And just like the idea of that with a freshly healing tattoo, or like even one that's, I don't know, a couple weeks old, like, yikes. It's like we're forcibly taking like a 3-month period off. In theory, winter is not a good campaign time, so maybe they have somewhere they winter over. In theory. In theory. I would say, like, unless it's not a good campaign time, so therefore it's good for an ambush, but, like, you would. Like, the trees have zero cover, and you can see the footprints real easy, so. Yeah. Not the best time for doing the migrational stabbies. Valid point, yes. Valid point indeed. Oh. Um. So yeah, they're in camp. Evan's trying to deal with not dying after losing an arm, and uh, like half the camp thinks that she and Bran should get together, and the other half like is either not mentioned or is isn't anyone else besides Dog who seems interested in her? Because like that's the only one that's the only character I think that's named that has expressed an interest in Leodin. Which is also why I have to die. Because conflicts. Ah, yeah. Uh, why do you think the anesthetic sponge had to be soaked in vinegar instead of water? I thought it was water. Did I miss that? Oh. Because she had a sponge and needed it filled with. Like, she needed a bowl and. Hmm. 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 I found an article written by, like, anesthetists on the proper cleaning and sterilization of anesthetic equipment. So that's cool, but not on that. Would be happy for Evan to be wrong. Wait, what? Okay. One sec. I think Doug was the only one who expressed romantic interest. The rest just liked her and didn't want her killed. Yeah, okay. Just, okay. On the one hand, if it's formulaic, then it's like, oh, okay, the thing is fine, and it's like, alright, this character is obviously in this pigeonhole section of whatever, and moving on, we're good. But, but also, why is it always like the nice friend character that seems to have to like die or be violently maimed in order for character progression to happen? And I don't know. I don't know. It, uh, nice friend slash love interest slash um like resident sane person in the group. You know, toss up on that one. Nice friend characters must die because they're emotionally healthy and therefore boring, right? Like they. That's what it is. Okay, yeah, no, I've got it. I've got it. The nice friend characters would tell the chaotic friend character slash the main character, that they're being obnoxious or like need help or to get therapy or that whatever harebrained scheme they're trying to pull is probably a bad idea. So, like, they must die in order to further the plot. Yes, exactly. Healthy and therefore boring. uh, yeah. Yeah, I need to reread the first couple chapters, I think. Excuse me. Far as I know, it's water that's rehydrating the sponge. But like, I just have this image of like this this knockout substance that's like got 5 different plants that if ingested in any more than a very small dose will kill you. And then also with like herbal like apple cider vinegar or something. Like yeah. The tastiest way to get fully annihilated. Uh Alright. Yeah. So, right after first meeting, Leodin has a vision of something, doesn't know what exactly, what seems to be a kid, presumably, in the dark, freaking out because someone, uh, was taken, isn't there, etc. Um, okay, one sec. The add quote thing should be active. Because it was there. It was fully there as a thing. I don't know what happened to it. Also, just realizing from this angle that I have, like, spiky space buttons. So, yeah, fun times. Um, hmm. You make the spiky space button slash Fern's antlers look work. There we go. Wow. Well, thank you. It's a look. Alright, well, let's see about trying to get the quote thing out. So far, I've got 2 saved in a Word doc, so we'll see, because there was a whole lot of them. I don't know where they went at all, and it's bugging me. Such as these things. Yeah. So Leonin had a vision of kid in dark space, or someone in dark space, and just knows that it's associated with like this strange, heavily tattooed guy that she just met. And then they've been interacting with for a couple of days, and she hears something out by the fire and goes to see what's up, and because she's the super duper healer main character, and because they seem to be employing the healing from PTSD and childhood trauma through the power of romance trope in here, um, which I'm remembering that he gets more like self-development and personal awareness and all that later. Hopefully that's not like nostalgia goggles and actually happens as a thing, but there we go. But with that, she sits down and is genuinely just a nice person too, just like wants to help people and sees someone in pain, so there's that. Sits down to try and like talk to him or snap him out of whatever he's going through, and he like latches onto her arm to the point that there's like bruises and stuff. Because like if you're in an altered headspace, sometimes you're not so aware of what's immediately going down. I remember liking him at the end of the book, but right now I can't remember why. Yeah. Yeah, like on the one hand, like okay. But on the other hand, like I mean, I don't know. And then uh by the by the third time, because like for the bit by the fire, she sees something, and it's kind of the same vein as the previous round of random visions involving Bran. And then the third one, he's kind of gotten on to the fact that like whenever she gets all like scared looking and spacey, um, she's having some kind of vision situation, and that it involves him because he's the closest one there, or at least thinks that it might involve him from the sounds of it, because he doesn't seem all that surprised when she's like, I saw you, and death, and things, and what have you. In, like, in context, we don't know why yet, just that she's having visions, and that she's outside of the realm of like Fae influence, because they didn't see her. Um, they just saw her brother, so she's like a randomly appearing twin. And one sec. Water's important. Good time for stretch time. Oh, jeez. Ow. Okay. Many things. So, um, what was I saying? You know those fun times when like you go weeks just being fine, and then all of a sudden like you can't concentrate on basically anything. That's where my brain is right now. I'm just glad that like all my classes right now are very like physically involving artistic stuff, because like that's that's the things that I end up reverting to when I can't concentrate on anything. So like, all right, it's cool. We're good. I can do this. If I was trying to write an essay right now, though, jeez, that would I'd make it work, but like that'd be a challenge and a half. Yeah. Brain grabbed Cleodon and held on with bruising force. He did. He did, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good point. So the vision that we see that round seems to just be, or it seems to be like him being taken from somewhere to somewhere unknown, but that seems to be at least the vibe that I was getting. And from what I remember, that kind of lines up with stuff, but I don't know. So what was it? So far we know Brown's had a traumatic childhood and is in charge of a band of mercenaries, but not much else. Knowing the following events, you can see some of the lead up, but It's interesting that every instance we've seen has been related to Bran's early childhood. So the powers of concentration are not with you. Sometimes the brain's like that. Exactly. It's like, now that I'm more aware of it, and I know that I have to let myself just, like, fidget with something in order to concentrate on anything, it's a lot easier to do. Like, I can fiddle with something in class and it's fine. And like I have a video recorded about like fidget toys and stuff that I need to, you know, edit and post and all that. But I found one that it's like a clicky, snake type thing that's on a keyring. And I have my keys just like on a belt loop and stuff, so when I need something, I end up just like messing with that, and it seems to help. It'd be better if it wasn't making click noises all over the place, but it's something. Um, it's something, and it's easy to decontaminate. Because I can just wipe it down with some alcohol or something. But yeah. Where's that? There's probably there's probably other characters that are about the same age or younger than Bran is, but he's the only one that we have an age for, or at least an estimated age for. Because Leoden asks and Dog says he's about 25, so there's that. Oh yeah. So I know it's a phrase. I know it's a phrase, just as a thing. But, the narrator coming on and talking about well-seasoned men in the audio, just, like, I was laughing for a good, like, minute or so. Like, I know it's meant to be that the character, the person being described, is, like, mature and experienced with whatever it is that they're doing. Which from that, like, it's the same kind of use as like you've seasoned a pan. It's ready to go and knows how to deal with like whatever you put in it. And it's a serious statement and all that, but the only thing that I could think of was like a bunch of guys that are like all sweaty and exactly sweaty, covered in road dust and whatever, marching along like wearing like I don't know, garlic or something. So but also the whole like unshowered dudes having a march through a forest covered in dust and sweat and whatever. It's an interesting seasoning, I suppose, on there. Delicious, well-seasoned men. No chef's kiss. Exactly. Alright. So, in 5, they end up staying in an ancient cave that feels like it's inhabited by spirits from the surrounding forest and stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of botany in these 2 chapters, was there? Which is okay. Yeah. It's this is kind of a lull, spice to forest, if you will. Would you say that's an old spice? Oh. Oh man. Alright. Moving on. Moving on. Oh, Jesus. Alright. So, okay. They end up staying in an ancient cave that's inhabited by the spirits of the forest and stuff, right? And Landon is having an issue with that because it's a place where the spirits dwell. It's not a place for people. It's a place for potentially like oh yeah, okay. And there's an altar with like a gap in the ceiling so that at one particular point of the year light comes through to hit the altar. So it's a place of uh ceremony and potentially like sacrifice, because that's usually some part of ceremony depending on what it is. um Various other things. And in 6, like, that's the cave that actually, are they in the cave? I don't remember. Old Spice guy would definitely star in this commercial. He would. He totally would. Ah, I can't remember because like there's a 2-part analogy thing. And I'm trying to remember if it works or not. Because what I have in my head right now is that they're in the cave that is inhabited by like spirits of the forest and stuff in a place that has historically had like ritual and sacrifice and like ceremony and things. First they're not in the cave, but then there's further sex once they move in out of the rain. Okay. So they're together in the cave, you know, a place of as a cave itself. A cave tends to be like protection and physically being within the earth, you know. As a symbol, it's a highly spiritual place that's got a visible like ancient lineage. and that's the space that they go to have sex the second time. And then later in 6, she's riding back to Seven Waters. Is stopped on the road by the Lord and Lady of the Forest and gets yelled at for listening to the voices in the cave that are what was the phrase? They're the spirits of the forest, but yeah. For she gets yelled at for throwing herself away, and listening to the voices of the earth who had been banished by the fair ones. So, yeah, the old ones. Okay. So, from what I know of Irish mythology, there's there's the fair ones, or the fae. There's the old ones, who, when the fae, like when the fair ones came to air, they were pushed underground, mostly. There's a few exceptions, but mostly were pushed underground. And sometimes the gods are seen as part of the fair ones, like, Lou and others, and other times they're seen as like separate. It depends on which interpretation you're going with sometimes. But, and I know I'm gonna mispronounce this because I mispronounce every other Gaelic word that I try and do without hearing it first. So apologies to anyone in the audience who knows any kind of Gaelic there. But in all the stories, all the mythology and stuff that I know of Ireland, it was I'm just gonna do phonetics at this point, so which I know is annoying, but yeah, here we go. So we've got the Ferblog, and the fair ones, and in the stories, like the big preface with this, in the stories that I have read, the Ferblog were hanging out living on the island. The fair ones came over, and for a while everything was fine and everyone was coexisting. Something happened, and the Fairblog were pushed out into the hills and such like. And then, you know, a couple centuries pass and the same thing happens to the fair ones, so there's that. Um to a degree at least. They seem to be slightly better at uh re-inhabiting places that humans decided that they wanted to have access to and stuff. And yeah. Um hmm. So we've got what's essentially like a high level strong magic ceremony, intentional or otherwise, uh in what has become the home of the old ones, literally in the earth where they were banished to. So really, the Lord and Lady wanted to presumably use Leoden to uh, further whatever they wanted to do. And in listening to the old ones, who I would imagine kind of maybe have a grudge, just a little bit, after being, shoved into caves and stuff. Um, that's presumably not gonna be a thing because, A, from what I remember, and B, from how they kept emphasizing uh, her having a kid and the kid being important in some fashion, and that she should go off in the forest just by herself and that would solve everything. There's the highly, highly subtle, very obvious hints that, like, she's probably kind of seriously pregnant now. So there's that. Um, Either they want her to further the plans or simply want her to promise to stay out of the way by staying at Seven Waters. Yeah, yeah. Like, one of the two, or both, depending on stuff. It is interesting, though, that, like, she and Sean are literally the same age. Sean seems perfectly fine. But okay. But like from how they're like obsessing over Neve and Laden, like the prophecy magic, however you want to say it, is it's like it's being passed down from the matrilineal line, so they don't like her anymore because she's pregnant now. Like, I don't what? Yeah, she got pregnant and messed up all their plans, but we who have read the books know this turns out better than their plans. Yeah, no, totally, totally. I don't remember that part exactly, but from what I do remember, their plans were kind of trash. So yeah. Also, incidentally, I it probably helps that I've seen it like 3 times in the last couple of years. Ah, I watched the entire 15 seasons of Supernatural twice in the last year and a half. Jeez, alright. So, I'm remembering that element and having just reread chapter 6, I'm getting a real strong, like, and from Daughter of the Forest and stuff, I'm getting a real strong, like, like Winchester character arc kind of situation, like you feel, where it's like the the literal powers that be, the angels and like any deities in the area and stuff got the parents together so a kid would be born to do a thing, but the kid consistently, like, just decides to do their own thing and annoys the powers that be to the point that, like, they kind of mess with them, but not, but, like, sort of, but not, but, like, also magic. Yeah, that is a lot of Supernatural. Like, in fairness, I watched it once and then watched it again to take notes because that was the instigation for writing out like script material for the plants and pop culture thing that is happening. I just need to finalize some things. So there's a very particular scene in one of the episodes that was the impetus for that, but I was already like what 9, 10 seasons into it, so needed to go back and rewatch the whole thing, or my brain would not have been happy with it. So reasons. Plants and pop culture hype. Exactly. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So yeah, there's that. Uh, that's another one that has like weird meta elements to it. Okay. Mm, Yeah, I think the only, like, botanical elements in this is that there was a flask that Bran had, with a strong alcohol from Gull's homeland that is silver lined with yew, which I was gonna look it up. Um, hmm. So it would have to be the yew wood. One sec. Hmm. He's pretty toxic, so that seems like a questionable drinking vessel choice. No, it can safely be made into bows, but yeah, yeah. So I was looking it up just now, and from the description, it's silver lined with yew, which either indicates that the alcohol itself is strong enough that it's just preserved the wood, or it's like the only instance that I've heard of it being a thing is with the weird, like, improperly made absinthe and stuff. But I've heard of certain alcohols being made where it's like it's got snake venom in it or something. So if that's the thing, but yew is very much a British Isles plant, and well, European at least. Um, so yeah. Also, yew and silver. If again, if it's a ceremonial chalice or something, which a flask could be, but if it's a ceremonial chalice, I can see that as a thing because it's like you're transferring like a like a ceremonial beverage sort of situation. And aside from a little bit that goes into the tea for Evan, they're the two that drink it. So it kind of follows the rest of the situations that happen in the cave. So it works from that, but something like silver and oak, or broom, or any number of other things would probably be better on that one. But then yew is also, like, it's a tree of death, but it's also like a protector, because it tends to be planted in graveyards, so it's protecting the people buried there. And it's also it's a fascinating tree, honestly. But there's part of the lore that it's a protector tree because it absorbs all the negativity and the pain and everything from the surrounding soil, which it does kind of do that. That's, like, practically that's one of the big reasons that they're planted in graveyards as a traditional thing, because it keeps some of the toxins and things from leaching out into, like, the wider soil environment. But with that, there's the folkloric idea that because it's absorbing all the negativity and pain and death and whatever, if you fall asleep under it, it'll just fully download all of that into you to, like, get rid of it. So there's that. Yeah. Fun times there. Yeah. Okay. Then we've got, like, we get a more rounded view of Bran after the other guys leave. And Bran says to watch out for Aemon because he's cut from the same cloth as his father. Remembering that Richard, that's his name. Jeez, okay. You have to, like, when you have to go through, like, that guy was kind of a dick. Ah, yes, that's his name. In order to remember a character. So it kind of makes us think for a warrior, so it kind of makes sense for a warrior to tell you to drink this flask. It does. It does. It very much gives the, like, like, we're going into a battle. I dare you to drink the thing, kind of vibe. Yeah, no, like, there was a full thought that was just, like, a part of it. Yeah. Yeah, no, cut from the same cloth as his father, like, i.e., the previous Aemon was working with Richard and Una in the previous generation, where it was Serica's story. Just whacking a water bottle and everything over here. Yeah. Okay. And then 6 opens with Evan getting a lot worse. And they're trying to be positive and stuff. And within just, a day or so, everybody knows that he's on his way out. So Evan requests that they go out around the fire and have after as many weeks as we were working on Daughter of the Forest, I keep wanting to call her Sirica. But we've got Leodin. So at that point, it's Leodin, Bran, and Evan. And Evan requested a long story to pass the night. It's 5:24. Okay. Good to know. I just have a couple of notes left, and we've already gone through half of them, so good to know. Thank you much. And so they get him out by the fire. You can watch the stars for one last round, and then dies. And then we get the only other instance. Burning pumpkins. Oh yeah, that's that. Well, pine is a wisdom thing. Apparently, if someone is called the pine cone, then it means they've done a big dumb move. But okay, interesting. Spiritual consciousness. Yeah, there we go. Spiritual consciousness and enlightenment, and historically used as symbols of everlasting or eternal life. So, yeah. It's a wisdom thing, but in this context, that's probably what they're going with. So, on the way out, burn pine cones because they smell nice, and also, because life, death, rebirth things. I've never heard someone called a pine cone. Yeah. I looked up the pine cone symbolism and stuff, and one of the options was just what does it mean to be a pine cone? Okay, let's go with that and see what happens. And it came up with an Urban Dictionary definition. I don't know. And then we've got Leodin using a small amount of kind of an incense in the fire that's made from the roots of wolfsbane and chervil that have been ground to a fine powder as like a funerary incense. And then there's the Bran and Leodin having sex, and it's a fairly involved but not necessarily graphic, if that's a good description of the description that's given. You know? And yeah, what does Cheryl taste like? When the herb she was gonna put in her mom's cheese. I wanna say it's like chive type thing. A quote from the Happy Herb from The Guardian, yes. As you might expect from its refined appearance, Chervil tastes mild and subtle, a little like parsley, but with a sophisticated yet gentle aniseedy warmth. Chervil's name is derived from the Greek terphilion, meaning the herb of rejoicing, or less reverently, the happy herb. And then we've got this dude that looks rather like parsley right there. And this is the first instance that we see on page that parsley, parsley and licorice is what I'm hearing. Yeah, basically. If parsley and licorice decided to like combine their relative properties, it'd be trouble. Apparently. Okay, I know it's not relevant to this, but like, my brain's decided to focus on a thing, so we're gonna talk about it for a second, and hopefully that will like excise it from my brain so we can continue on. So like, we've got a Chervil, and in the Serpent's Tail, it was Chevril Castle. So now there's this thing of like, what about Chervil Castle? What would that look like? What kind of plants would be there? I don't know. And we're good. Okay. Alright. So they're together the night, or the after. Yay, tangent, exactly. um so they're together and then go back to the cave, have sex again, and then like Leodin says that she needs to go home because her mom's sick. And that's the first instance that we have on page of Bran having some kind of issue with her family. Because he's, from the sounds of it, he's kind of had a few suspicions, just that, like, she knew of Aemon. But now, because he associates Serica and manipulative women as a thing, he's having issues with that. And without doing a spoiler for, like, stuff further down the line, basically, he gets mad and doesn't explain why he's mad and tells her to leave, but, like, also wants her to be safe, so it sends her off with his horse and his jacket and everything. Because, like, complicated man emotions and reasons. Because, once again, communication is overrated? I don't know. I will give him the benefit of the doubt that in his mind, with what he thinks that he knows about Serica, he probably thinks that Leodin is fully aware of what her mom did, quote unquote, according to the storyline that he's got in his brain. Because, again, that's the narrative that he's got in his head. But, like, communication is for healthy people, not protagonists. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that right there, that's going in the quote pile. Like, seriously. Exactly. Exactly. What? Mental health? What? No, ew. Exactly. Oh yeah, and I put this note in here of like when the lady of the forest was talking about how they like banished the old ones to the caves because they didn't want to deal with them anymore. It's like, so the fair folk are also kind of racist a little bit. Just, yeah, good to know. I mean, it works with what I know of the lore, but like, good to know. That's a thing. Ah. And then the last couple things are just uh, them being mad that Leodin doesn't do exactly as they demand, and the dog was attacked in retribution, and Leodin has to help him die faster because there's literally nothing else she can do. And he's in massive pain at that point. And requested the knife. But, like, what is with storylines and just killing off, like, the at least more well adjusted characters? Because, like, I know it's a more dramatic story if the characters lose their friends and whatever else, but, like, yeah, what? And she has zero plan for explaining where she's been. Exactly. Like, they just fully ride back to Seven Waters and just sitting there in silence next to Sean on a horse. Like, dude, you really think that you've been gone for, like, what, 2 weeks at this point, and you're not gonna get interrogated? You had, like, I realized up until, like, that day, she's been spending all her time taking care of Evan. But in, like, the downtime and stuff, or on the ride over and whatever, like, you gotta at least have a baseline thing. Even if it's even if it's something stupid like I was riding around and like, or I don't know, someone needed help and I whacked my head on a branch coming back and had amnesia for a week, like something, I don't know. Like, oh, depending on the character involved, like either they would buy it or notice that she doesn't have a bruise on her head or something at that point. But something. Uh, I don't know. But yeah, so that concludes the notes that I've got. Any final thoughts? Or not? So any story would have to account for that. I assume they would have found or at least missed her guard, so any story would have had to account for that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know, that's true. So So there would have to at least be, like, some mention of, like, I was abducted by somebody. So, I don't know. Like, I was trying to remember how they do the, like, introduction later because of that whole thing. And it's just like, you're gonna read it sooner or later, just chill. It's fine. Ah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So there is that. So, yeah, our brain keeps trying to skip ahead too. Yeah, okay. Depending on who the Son of Shadows is. Because Daughter of the Forest had Sirica on it, on the cover. Depending on who the Son of Shadows is. Because I can't rightly remember if it's Kieran or Brad. Because I think if the kid in Sirica's vision is the Son of Shadows, and if that ends up being who I think I remember it as, which, you know, I realize that my memory from the time period that I initially read these is so on point that I fully forgot that it was a series and that I'd read it. So taking that into account, if the title character is who I think it is, I'm trying to figure out why Kieran is the cover there. But alright. Anyway, so there is that. Anyone have further observations before we call it a night? Or no? We're good? Alright. Well, in that case, have a fabulous rest of your day, and we'll see you all later. I'm gonna try and get this posted the next couple of days. It'll depend entirely on when the rest of the videos go up. I'm trying to stagger them so it's not just like 6 things posted right now. So, I don't know. Yeah. We'll see you next week for chapters 7 and 8. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Have a good weekend if I don't see you. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody. Bye. Have a good one. Alright. Ooh. And hugs. Ow. Sorry, Spidey. That hurt both of us. I had him sitting on my knee and just like, alright, we're doing a thing. And whacked my knee hard enough that it made him squeak. So, yeah. Anyway, have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you all later. Bye, everybody. I need to just not be on the internet right now. Wow, okay. Bye, everybody. Have a good one. There's a random piece of towel stuck in there. That's not supposed to be there. Come on. Anyway. Yeah.